And now you've got yourself something funky.
I want that as my ringtone. I think any, like, for both of you guys, whenever I get like a text from you or a call from you, I want that to be my ringtone. I think.
When do I ever call you?
Maybe when we actually start, like, doing things with the show during
I
the
don't
week.
think I even have your phone number. In any case, this is the full 42, where we don't communicate with each other, apparently. Where we talk about geek stuff and board games and whatnot. Tonight we're covering the top 5 or so games that we shan't play again or refuse to play or basically, well, and my thing is I had such a bad experience at some point, or enough bad experiences, that I'm like, I don't need to play that again. Are you guys picking ones that you have played, or are you picking ones, because we had a little miscommunication, or have you picked ones that you just know you shouldn't play and you won't play?
I sent you a message that said I was going to house rule it and play and do games that I know I would never want to play. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
And Matt. What is up?
Matt?
Hello.
So I know that there are games based on other players' experiences that I would never, ever, like, I'm not bringing myself to the table for. But when I was going through my list, I ended up coming up with 8 that I have played that I wouldn't play again, and 2 that were those, like, I heard from someone how horrible of an experience it was, and I would never even, like, try it, because I know it would just... What I did leave off the list was almost, well, I know there's one game that I would try from them, but any of those kind of war games that include, like, physics and like the GMT kind of stuff, they're just not up my advanced squad leader, like, those kind of things I know are not up my alley, and it wouldn't be fair to be like, I would never play whatever. So right. I left them off. I did mostly stuff. I think everything is like within the top 500 or 700 on BGG that I would never touch again.
That's kind of an interesting topic. Just what is the genre of board game that you're instantly, like, you would have to be talked into to sit down at that game just by being told it's this kind of game?
Charades.
Really?
Anything where you have to do like physical and...
Wouldn't do it. The only exception is Monikers. The way Monikers plays out, it's the same deck of cards that we all put into like a common pool. And then round 1 is you can use anything you want. You can read the card, you can give clues, you can do whatever you want to get the people on your team to say the word. Then it goes into your score track. And then the second round is the same deck of cards with the same things. Nope. The same. That's just. Wait a minute. Last time Matt suggested a game, we played it on the show. So Matt, don't suggest anything.
Yeah, he got his one. That's.
Yeah. The second round of the game, you're playing the same deck of cards with the same clues, but you're only allowed to give one clue, like one word clues. But you've already gone through the deck. So if you're listening, even if you're with the other team, you know what cards are in the game at that point. Then the third round, you're not allowed to do anything but charades. Like, it's all silent. All your clues are silent. And I'm not a big charades fan, but what ends up happening throughout the game is you've now heard those clues twice. You know what cards are in the game. And without even thinking about it, you're making gestures to get your team to do stuff. And if you're paying attention, even the other team is doing stuff, and you start laughing. So when charades come, you've already done things throughout the rounds that isn't necessarily charades, especially as an Italian. I talk with my hands. So it's like almost natural to like do things to make people guess like what basketball means. But I'm not a big like get out there and act it out in front of people. But by the third round, it's like you've already done stuff, or someone has already done stuff that's like, oh, I can just do what they did to get people to do it because they all laughed at what that person did. Mm-hmm. And it makes it seem like it's not charades, even though... Peter, how are you? Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah.
I was just talking on Discord like before I hit live.
We're going to be talking about him on the show. So yeah, that my thing that I would stay away from no matter what would be... We're talking about games we don't like, so I figured this was appropriate for the show.
I'm surprised
Jar
you
Jar
got
has
that to begin with.
I got it specifically for an episode of things that I don't like. and I've been waiting for it. So this show is perfect. He's been sitting waiting for this moment. This is his time to shine.
I will say this. At least it's not my intention. I'm pretty sure it's not yours. I'm usually more negative than either one of you, but it's not my intention to just like destroy a game or a designer or anything like that. And that's what like I'm picking games that I've had personally bad experiences with, and explaining those experiences. So maybe other people wouldn't.
I agree. It's not about the designers in the game. A lot of these games are very well liked.
Hmm.
Like people can like them. I don't need to take up a seat in that game.
Oh, yeah, my last two are going to be ones people would argue with me, probably even emotionally about, because some of them are very loved. So
Cool.
we'll see.
I only have a couple. I don't even have 5.
Well,
I
we
mean,
did-
there might be. I don't know. There might be some that will come up in your list that I'll agree with, or I don't know. I feel like it really has to not be a pleasant experience to not play it again, and I've only had that a handful of times. So
My first three, I don't think anybody's heard of. So I'll just go through those real quick.
It's also there can be games that are ruined because of, and this is something that we can talk about when we talk about games we played at PAX. But there can be games that are ruined because of the people at the table. It's still a bad experience, but it's not a game that not that I had a bad experience at PAX. I'm just
Right.
saying there can be games that are played and the people at the table just suck. They're sore losers, whatever the story is, and you have a bad experience, but you definitely play like Arkham. All the times I hear people talk about Arkham and how long it takes, or Twilight Imperium, and it takes all half a day to play. Yeah, but it depends on the people you're with, because my experience with Twilight was fucking awesome. Like it was 11 and a half hours, and it was one of the best game experiences I had. I had whatever. So like it could really be the people at the table that make the experience bad, and that's not about the game. But there are games that are just like, nope, I did it. I don't like it. My head can't wrap around it. It's too mathy. It's too strategic. There's too many tracks moving. Whatever it is, there's a difference between what I would not want to play again. You guys might like it, or someone out. It's revered for a reason, but it's just not my thing, right? Like Twilight Struggle was number 1 on BGG for how long? Never played it. Never had an interest in playing it.
One of mine, we actually had the designers on our show for a little bit, so I'll be very kind. just for a brief moment, though.
Well, we did talk before the show that the ones that we come up with, and I'll go past 5. Like I'll talk about all 10 of mine. You can.
that's good because I only have a couple. So
you can talk about why we're wrong. If it's something that you played that you like, or you think, oh, you should do that again because whatever, like it'll be fun to have that conversation too.
Oh, and just before this, I was saying I had a number 6 and I didn't want to really say it. Peter just told me that we played that incorrectly. So
Great.
Apparently I am going to play it again because it should give a game its real chance, right? So I won't mention what that is because that wouldn't be fair.
How many times do you have to play a game in order to really know you don't like it?
I would say just one.
Yeah.
It depends on the game. I mean,
sure.
If you're having the experience of I'm not liking this game, 10 minutes in, there's not a good chance that you're going to like it the second play, right?
Maybe depends on who's teaching it, right? If the teacher is not very good at explaining the game.
One of mine is because of teaching, and
you can go 10 minutes into the game and still, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this, or oh, that's how you're going to score later, and you're like, well, like I'm 10 minutes into a game, I've already taken 4 turns, I don't know what I'm doing, my game's already botched. You're not going to have a good experience while like the leader just coasts on through, and you're just left behind going, what in the actual hell am I doing?
Katia, do you have a genre game that you're just like, that's not my jam?
Oh, like war games.
War or word?
War.
Oh, war.
Same.
Like those Civ games, like yeah.
See, Peter, I had a discussion at PAX U with kids splaining. I've never heard that. They offer a review package where they say they will play it 5 times. Kids splaining.
Yeah, it's a media content creator. They do reviews.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like if you play a game, I don't think I've played a game 3 times that I've hated right off the bat, but many of them I've played twice just because I've had such an experience. I think there's no way it could be that like that, right? Like I mentioned once, I told on a episode my experience with Escape Plan.
Mhm.
Um, what's his name? Starts with a V, right?
So,
Yeah, Lacerda, right?
Mhm.
So that's the only Lacerda game I played, and I had such a hard time in the learning process of that it was and what I expected it to be, that I had a really bad time the first time. So I played a second time and enjoyed it much more the second time. But third time, maybe I don't know. I'll get to it, but hopefully I won't forget it before I get back to that third time
right.
because I'm not going to learn it again. All right.
All right,
Well,
I just thought of 2, so now I'm at 5.
Nice.
there you go.
Well, wait, Chris, what are there games like that you would just steer away from? Like, what kind of game is that? It's this. Oh yeah, I'm out.
Um, Generally anything that's like a um card battle, you battle another person game.
Like Magic.
Mm.
Yeah, Magic or like almost any Marvel thing where you're fighting. I'm playing Black Widow against Spider-Man kind of thing.
Mm,
It's just boring. They're all kind of the same to me. I know they're slightly different in mechanisms, and some of them are better at theme than others, and it's just kind of a boring time for me the
mhm.
whole way, and so I just avoid those.
Cool.
I know there's some people who love it, so nothing wrong with them, just not my jam.
Mhm.
But yeah, I have done war games before. My brother really loves them, especially certain select that he has. So I'll play with him sometimes, especially like on his birthday where he gets to call the board games at game night. And I enjoy myself. The only thing I don't like about war games is there's typically that moment where you're like, oh, I lost, and there's still like an hour or two to go. And
Mm.
it's not the kind of thing where you can just back out because then you ruin the game for everybody else.
Right.
And I wish somebody would work their way out of that, figure that out.
Yeah.
I think games like Cyclades gives you that warlike feel, but doesn't like figure it out a way to make, first of all, the gameplay more interesting, but also make it to where you don't know who's going to win till like right up to the end.
Right.
So, oh, we got some list over here from Matt. Gloomhaven would rather play D&D. I've mentioned that before.
Yep.
Way too long. Eldritch Horror, way too long. Magic the Gathering, Resistance. They look like two Magic the Gatherings.
Yeah. It's funny because I would definitely play Twilight Imperium again. Right, people. But the first time I played it, as daunting as it was, we all were first timers and we all did a little bit of homework going into it. And it was literally a half a day. It was 11 and a half, not literally, almost a half a day. And it was great. And it's long. I mean, that's a long 11 and a half hours. You can play many games in 11 and a half hours. And we just,
like I said, if you're sitting, like you said, if you're sitting around a table for half a day with your best buddies, you could have fun. I mean, so.
Yeah, it's been one of the best experiences, that game.
That's fair. Some people don't want to do that. Well, Matt, I know that you play D&D. I don't know how long you do that. Well, our games are 6 hours long on, and I do that every Sunday. So I can't complain about TMI or anything else, and I have fun. So, all right, well, let's get into it then. Let's see.
Banner.
What?
The banner.
Oh, yeah. Also, please like and subscribe if you want me to use banners less or more, or either one.
Matt said his sessions are 4 hours. Still 4 hours. I mean, one of the questions in the hot seat was 1 2-hour game or 4 30-minute games, right?
That's true.
You're playing the same thing for 4 hours, but you're also invested. Like, you've been running these characters through a hell of a story over the time you've been playing it. So 6 hours to develop your character and engage in that story is pretty.
Oh, I have to tell you some cool stuff about what's happened lately in my Star Wars game. Maybe if we have time later on.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting thing. All right, so 5 games I'll never play that again games, right? Top 5 I'll never play that again games.
Sure.
Who wants to go first? Who wants to burn the first bridge? Just kidding.
Are we going to go through? Should I just do 5, or are we actually going to go through extras?
I don't know. Pick your top 5.
I mean, yeah, I'm just going to do 5. I mean, you can do extras if you want. Just say them off the bat, but let's just start with 5 and going down.
All right, fine.
Let me pull this up so I can show it off in case people aren't familiar with it. Share my screen. Here we go. Pull up BGG. What are we talking about, Mike?
I will mention the 2 that I've never played before as before I get going. All the others I've played. I will never play Advanced Civ and Acquire. Never.
Acquire? Really?
There's nothing about the stories that I've heard about either of those games that are like, ooh, I want to try that. Never.
So you'll never play that?
Never.
Oh my gosh.
That's not the Advanced Civ, is it?
Advanced Civ.
That's the one?
The most recent story, if we ever have a certain person on that wants to talk about it, there was a game of that was just like every time I hear about that game, something frustrating. Like it's never good. So I'm at that, and Acquire, as good as Acquire is to some people, there's nothing about it that I want to.
Acquire is
I
amazing.
agree with Peter. I love Acquire.
Acquire for a long time was in my top 3 games. It's one of the games that got me into the hobby. I still have it on mobile on my phone.
Oh man.
Nothing about it. Never heard.
Yeah, my sister used to have it, and we played a couple times, and it's one of those where eventually I think we all kind of got further down the hobby, and that game didn't get played as much. But I think she sold it, and I wish I would have just bought it from her because I really like it.
There's different versions of it too. I think this is the latest version.
Okay.
No, maybe. Is that Hasbro?
Yeah, this is the latest version. They have these plastic buildings again and stuff. My favorite version is like $200 on eBay or whatever, and I don't have it. I wish I did. Well, that's not it. I don't know which one it is, but I had some plastic buildings in it. Oh, there it is. That's the grill game for me someday to get that.
Nope.
Huh.
Paper money. Nope.
No, it's not paper. Well, yeah, okay, it is paper money actually, but it's card stocks. Oh, this is somebody's 3D print right there.
Yeah, nothing about it is interesting.
This is the version I have where it's no plastic or anything. It's a great game. You're wrong.
I can be wrong. So I'll start with my number 5 of games that I've actually played. Captain Marvel: Secret Skulls.
Okay, what? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, it's a thing. Shouldn't be.
Captain Marvel: Secret Scrolls.
Yep. It's basically Captain Marvel Bang.
Oh.
Never again.
No?
Nope. Played it once. Didn't. Now, I had nothing to compare it to. I had never played Bang before. But if that is what Bang is, I'm out. Like I never didn't have a good time. It was just frustrating. It wasn't good.
There's only 7 pictures.
Rightfully so. There was nothing good about it. And I played it with, it wasn't even the crew that I was playing it with. They were all friends, and they're all gamers, most designers. It just was not a good experience. I wouldn't even be like, all right, I'll try it again. Like, nope, hard pass. I'm good.
But it's got the Biclops Nick Fury.
Nope.
Is it newer?
you're grabbing it because it's Captain Marvel, and it came out right around when Captain Marvel came out. So sure, yeah, Captain Marvel game, but it's like based on the Bang system. It just didn't feel right at all. Any part of it was just like, what are we doing?
How many times did you play it?
Once.
That's all it took for you to never.
Not worth it. I don't even think I own it. I think I gave my copy away.
That's a pretty strong statement for someone who wants to keep every board game in the world.
Never. There's no place for that in my mess of games. There's no place for that.
That's just Bang.
I hope it's not, because like I know there's Bang the dice game. Bang, I've been told Bang, the Walking Dead version of Bang is better and different. And it's like, no, you should play this. All right.
All right. I don't really know Bang that much, so.
I know Bang the dice game, but not the regular.
I mean, dice games don't usually attract me to playing anyway, so.
Right. We're not allowed to talk about it, but there is a game we recently played.
Burning Bridges, sir.
Andrew, nothing against you, man, and I love everything that you do. And it's probably just the Bang system that I don't like. But man, that was rough. It was a rough experience.
Could have been taught poorly, Peter says.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Well, if you just accepted a challenge to play again, then you can't put this on your list of games I'll never play again.
It's an Italian edition, so maybe like maybe Bang is different, and this has got something better. If it's just the Italian edition of Bang, like we're playing the Polish edition of Mysterium, I'm not in. I'm not doing it. If it's different, I'm in. Because it's not about, we were talking before, it's not about the people that I played with. It wasn't like there was some shitbag that was playing the game and ruining it and complaining that they kept getting shot, right? It wasn't that someone was ruining it for me. We were all like, it was a great night of playing games with people, and this came out, and it was like we kind of just sat around going, okay, like that happened.
Just a bad experience, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't. For me, it's also maybe that's just not my type of game, right?
Yeah, I would know that probably this is not going to be my type of game, but I might try it if other people at the table wanted to, and I could be surprising. It could surprise me. So.
Maybe,
but
if I still have my copy, I'll give you my copy. wait, come to QSCon 22, and I'll give you.
It's starting to bribe me, huh? Wait. Lance got Battlestar Galactica, and you're giving me a game you think you threw away.
No, I would never throw it away.
Not throw away, but you think you gave it away.
I definitely don't think I have it.
All right. What you got, Katia?
Well, my first one is obvious and everybody knows it, so I'm not going to go on and on about it, but point salad.
Yeah, I think we all knew that point salad was going to be on your list here. But you'll never try it again.
No, it's just dull. It's completely dull.
I guess I can't imagine that the type of people you play with really change this game that much.
No, because the people that I played it are perfectly fine folks. But that was just so underwhelming. And
I've always been surprised by your visceral for this game just because of it only plays for like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
How can you hate something that much that plays for only 10 minutes?
I don't know, but I have another pretty quick game, and
that's fair. Maybe you don't like 10-minute games.
Maybe. I don't know. But that one just didn't do it. Yeah, didn't do anything for me.
Flip to 42. Yeah, I actually like point salad. In fact, I looked at, I've been keeping track of all my plays. It's the number one game I played this year.
Oh, God.
But that's only because, not number one rated, but number one, like I played it that many times. But I mean, like I said, you only play it for 10 minutes. So I might run up like 4 games of it in one night or something. But yeah, I think it's a great little filler game. By the way, a question for you. Sidetrack, digress. I saw on Facebook someone saying that we shouldn't use the term filler now because that might be seen as bad. What do you guys think about that?
I could see the negative connotation to it because like it almost makes it sound like the game itself is not enough to be like considered its own game. Like it's like, oh, it's filler. It's good for like in between two real games. Is kind of like what it is.
Right, but like I've designed filler games, and in the design process, I'm saying, "Oh, I'm going to make a filler game." Like, you know
Yeah,
what you're
and
making. No
yeah,
one's making
like
a filler game and thinking, "Oh, this is the next, Blood Rage or whatever."
yeah, I mean, I think it has come to mean just a quick, easy game that's passes
Yeah,
between 15-20 minutes. Like I don't know, but like I personally don't have a problem with it, but I could see why people feel like it's a negative term. But I mean, it's the same thing as gateway game. Some people think it's a negative thing because it's like, well, it's sort of like to say that a game is gateway is almost like, again, it's making it so that it almost means like it wouldn't be good for like gamers that are like the hardcore gamers or like the ones that play heavy stuff. And
I get that.
yeah, I don't know. So I think it kind of falls under that same category, but
I get that. I mean, people call Troubles Gateway, and it is Gateway. It's a gateway worker placement game, but there needs to be a term for gateway games that are still good once you're past the gate. Like
mhm.
Ticket to Ride is still good to play once you're in fully into the thing, right? But there's some gateway games that I might not return to after a while.
Right.
So I could see that.
Hmm.
Anyway, little digression there. That's true. People know what that
Yeah.
means. So
Yeah.
it's going to be hard to filter that out if it really does become an issue. But
I don't see filler as a negative. I'm not saying a game is a filler game because it's light and it's not a time. We're gonna waste time, so we're gonna play this. Hey, we got George is coming over and he's running 10 minutes behind, and we have this game. Why don't we just fill time and play this game? It's not a knock on the game, just like Gateway. Like it brings you into the hobby. It's something I've never played this before. And then you open up the gates and you're like, holy shit, there's this great hobby of awesome game. Like it brings you through. What do you
yeah.
call them then? Like, is it just a game? Then it's like,
Well, it's because some people, yeah, I mean, some people equate Gateway with like a level 1 type of game versus level 2 is better, level 3 is better. And that's not necessarily the case. You can enjoy level 3, 2s, and 1s equally, or 1s more than 3s and all that stuff, right?
don't rank
But,
games then.
I don't mean by ranks, but just in your head.
No, I
Gateway feels-
know what you mean. I'm just saying, like, people go on board GG, Jesus, Board Game Geek, and look at the rating and notice the rating is a 2. Well, what does that mean? The rating's a 2. Is that a gateway? Is 1 a filler? Is 5 like, man, you've really made it and you're playing these great games, and that's a 5. It's heavy. It's a war game. Like, if you're into games, that's it. What's the ranking system then? I feel like the ranking system kind of lets you know the weight of the game is how heavy the game is, and if how deep you are into the hobby, then those are the games you're playing. So just using the term gateway, is that a 2? And we don't rank it a 2 because that implies that it like 1 is not really strategic. Great, it's probably a party game. It's probably like something quick. Well, great, that's a filler. It's a light game. Like you want to call it? I don't know. That's dumb. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Peter's right here. Gateway is a kind of a kiss of death term for Kickstarters.
Sure. So maybe
They
not
just don't do as well.
as a gateway. You're not going to put it on your glory banner that says it's the best gateway game since whatever. But man, if we start in the hobby, just start talking about like how Color Brain is a great gateway. I'm not knocking Color Brain. if I know my audience and I
Agreed.
know they haven't really played heavy games or they're not into heavy games or they're just they're still green to the hobby, then I'm going to throw out games that are like easy to teach. You're up and playing. They're not going to get bored with the rules. Like they're not too much. And then maybe they'll be like, oh, wow, this is great. What else you got?
Mm-hmm.
You call them hook games because you're hooking people into the hobby. Well, I don't want to, I'm not a hooker. Like it never ends.
Never ends. Yeah, I mean, well, Peter's got, yeah, he didn't call Flamecraft Gateway, may or may not be. I don't, well, I mean, in a way it is, right? You brought in over 1,000 new people to to Kickstarter with that game. So, but in a good way, right? I think you're right. You can't use it as a marketing term in certain markets like Kickstarter, but
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Know your market, know your audience.
yeah. But anyway, sidestepping back into the top 5, a little fun,
Yes, I'm
interesting.
feeling all negative. It's probably jargon, but I like this. This is good.
So point salad, we all knew it'd come. We disagree with you, but you're allowed to dislike it.
I disagree with you, Chris. I don't know how you play that game 4 times. Like, let's play it again. Let's play it again. Like in the same night. I don't know how you do it.
Because it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but
It's a filler game. It literally fills in between games.
but it's
There
not.
are so many other games I would play instead.
You're playing that game 4 times. It's a 10-minute game. That means you're spending 40 minutes on a game. There are plenty of games that are 40 minutes that are better than Point Salad.
Well, okay, even broken up though, like literally this is used as a filler for me because I take games to my game group,
Right.
and we'll grab 1 or 2 games that might be fillers, and we'll have 2 tables. So we'll wait for the other people to finish their game. This is a 10-minute game. We'll just play that until we're all done, split up again, do it again. That's how that ends up happening.
Okay.
It's not like I have all of these games to pick from filler, because I got a bunch of filler games to do right here, but I might have only taken this one. So
okay.
But I do think we played it twice in a row, many times.
I can
especially especially whenever we've taught it to a new person, because it's one of those games where you're like, oh, okay, I get how this works now. Let's try it one more time.
Right. Yeah. I could do better. Or the 3 of us are playing and we're just determined to be Chris. No, play again. I screwed up. Let's play again. I could see that. But I'm not shuffling this thing up 4 times and because you're gonna waste 45 minutes, not waste. You're gonna take 45 minutes to play that game when I would much rather play like anything else.
I could see that. By the way, whenever I put up text like this, since it covers up your face, Mike, I think you ought to say what they're saying in their voice. Like try to do your voice.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Fine.
Every time you put up a banner, I will drink though.
So if I do this, then we can catch you drinking. Okay, great. All right. So
continue to put up the same thing.
So point salad was yours. So mine is one. Like I said, 3 of these you might not even heard of because they kind of had quick times. But my 5th one is Floating Market.
Wow, that was on my I really want to play it list.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, you've heard of it then.
Interesting.
This came out a long time ago, actually. Maybe
it's the old Eagle Griffin logo.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think it was Kickstarter because it just arrived. I don't even remember ordering it, but it might not have been a Kickstarter. It, like I said, it was years ago. This was so long ago. In fact, we played it twice, and on the second game, we couldn't continue the game because we reached a rule point that I hate this term, but it broke the game. By breaking, I mean we couldn't continue playing because there was no answer to how this worked. And it was so new that it wasn't on BGG yet. Might be on there now. And I can't, because it was like 6 years ago, I can't remember the exact thing. But in the end, I mean, I went back and looked at the description, and it refreshed what it kind of was, which was worker placement, then roll dice to see if you get anything, which I don't need to try that again, kind of thing. Just not for me. But again, might have been some little weird thing. Maybe we were doing some little thing wrong, and I hadn't seen on the forums other people complaining of that issue. So maybe it's not. It's just I played it wrong or something like that. In the end, though, I remember putting that game up, and it was the first game I ever thought, I don't know why I'm going to keep this game. I'll never play it again.
Huh. Well, that's good.
But like I said, there's other people on here that seem to love it. So
Sure.
All right,
To Michael.
Mike.
This might ruffle some feathers.
Oh, wait, before you say,
Oh, I think I
Matt-
know which one you're gonna.
Matt
I
wants to
think
know
it-
what you're drinking.
Jack Honey and Ginger. It's my Monday night cocktail.
I think I know which one you're about to say.
We should do these lists after you drink more then.
Oh, it'll get much worse.
I
It
think.
gets interesting.
Can I take a guess?
Sure.
I think it's Azul.
Nope.
Oh,
Is it on your list?
I'm not even giving it credit to be on my list.
Oh,
oh wow. That means he'll play it.
That's specifically the base game. You said top 5. That might have been like there's other games. I haven't played the stained one, which whatever. I haven't played the other one with the floor tiles.
The
I heard-
Summer Pavilion is
yeah, they're
the
supposed to
third
be
one, I think. I haven't played the fourth one yet, but I will. So what's your number 4?
It's Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I could see that. I played it once and yeah.
Arabian Nights.
Yes, like if it was Aladdin themed and you got to like play around with like Iago and Jafar and the Cave of Wonders, like I'm in. But I played this game multiple times. Although I had a good time when I played it the first time, every time I've revisited it, I'm just aggravated to the point where like I never want to play it again. I'll use it as an example of what not to do.
Man, right there.
Yeah, I own it. I have it It's in the other room. But there's nothing. I'm putting out all the cards. The skill tokens, they don't matter. Picking like I want 11 and 9 or I want 7 and 13. Like none of it matters. Going someplace and having an encounter and using the matrix to be like, I'm going to be a thief. And then you're like, you get kidnapped. Like what? I wanted to steal something. And I end up drinking in a bar with some, or you have a sex change, or like none of it matters in that game. It's just like we have nothing to do. We're gonna sit around a table. Everyone else is gonna be texting their friends on why they're playing this shitty game, and you're just not having like. I know that it's like people love it, but there's nothing about it that's like coherent. Nothing connects unless you're making it connect. Like none of it was like. I had a good time the first time I played it because we were hanging out with friends and I enjoyed the friends more than like, oh, it's my turn. Yeah, I'll go to this city. What's my card say? Like it was, there was, in addition to the reason I won't ever, not only do I don't see it connecting as a game, there are storytelling games that do that way better. So why play that when you can play any of the others?
Yeah. I think it should get credit as having the foundation of being the first of this type of game, or at least one of the first.
Sure.
Most popular as one of the first, anyway. But you're right. There are times, like almost every time, it'll say something like, "Oh, you see a man who looks like he's kidnapped some people, and he has a sword at his hip." And you go, "Oh, I have swordsmanship." I attack him, and it goes, "Oh, he's a genie. Do you have magic?" And you're like, "No, because you described to me that he had a sword, and so I attacked."
Right.
And you're like, "Nope, he's a genie. You don't have magic. You're screwed." That's what happens.
Exactly.
Um,
That falls under what they were saying earlier about wait, what? None of it matters. You could roll a die. That game could completely be die based. Be like, just read a story, roll a die, a 7. This is what happens. It has absolutely nothing to do with what you pick in the beginning of the game to develop your character, and then what you pick on the damn matrix. None of it matters.
I will say this is one of those games that after about a year or two, I forget about how much I don't enjoy it and think, let's just sit around and go through some weird stories. And then after the end of it, we go, that's why we haven't played this in 2 years. But it still draws me back.
Because it's got that lore, right? It's got that history of being like you always heard. It was hard to get for a while. It wasn't in print, right? Everyone wanted to get it. It's a storytelling game. Like it just was like, I don't know.
I didn't know it was hard to get.
Yeah,
I got it way back. So
same, and it's been out of print for a while, so copies of it were hard to find. And then they just, I want to say recently, but like the past 2 years have been a blur.
Katia, have you gotten to play this one?
Yes, I've played it. It was actually more than a couple of years ago. It was a little while back. And what I found frustrating was that we, at some point, I mean, it's not like the people who showed us the game had played it 30 times, but we got to like a certain scenario and there was an option or whatever, like a number we had to go and look up in the book, and they remembered exactly what it was. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like there's hundreds of things in there and you're able to remember the one number and what it says, and it was just like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, if I show up at the colorful lake magical spot, I know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And I can't get that on my head.
Above and below, that's going to happen, right? As great as we've talked about Lockett making games, when certain things, and it's better, it's harder to take that trail to what you know. But when something happens, you're like, oh shit.
Boring you, Katia?
I'm exhausted, so I apologize for all the yawning. It was a long day of driving back, so my apologies.
No problem. I know. I'm just messing with you. I know you're tired.
Carry on, Michael.
No, it's one of those things that's inevitable.
Yeah.
No matter how good a storytelling game is, there could potentially be a moment where you're like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arabian Night. It's always going to be around because it was the first that really do this well. Well, not well as we're describing it, but do it in this way. So, all right, Katia, what's your number 4?
My number 4 would be, so I've also talked a lot about it when we got back from, I think it was Gen Con. We tried to play 10, and that was a hot mess. I have no desire to play that again.
I saw this the other day, I think at Target, and I thought about
I feel really
grabbing
bad
it.
because I keep listing AEG titles. I swear it's not because it's that company. Like I love Cascadia. Like I have other games that I like by them. It just so happens that their small games are not my thing. I don't know. Yeah, that one was just more math and complicated.
Bobby loved it. Bobby still loves it. He's like, you got to play it again. And he's like, the people you played it with probably, like maybe they didn't teach it right. And it was, when we learned it, the person teaching it was clearly anti-10, hated the game, didn't like it at all. And it came across in the teach. So that could have soured the experience. But like, there are things in that game that are just, I don't know, mechanism wise, don't make sense.
I don't hate them. It's just the small games. I don't know. They're not.
AEG's been knocking it out of the park lately, actually.
Yeah. Well.
That one. Yeah, I almost got that just because I knew you had a problem, and I thought I gotta see. I mean, I like point salad, so maybe I'll like it. I don't know.
I mean, to me, for that one, I'd rather play No Thanks or Parade, which has some similar.
See, I'm a fan of No Thanks as well, so maybe I don't know if I would compare it or not, and then feel the same way.
Yeah. But anyways, that's my number 2.
Continuing the one you probably haven't heard of, and my number 4 is Hoyuk.
Huh.
Either one of you hear this one?
I
Nope.
know of it. I don't know anything. I know something about it, but I can't recall.
This was a Kickstarter, I believe. Yeah, it was, because I remember I got it right before going to BGG Con. And I hadn't had a chance to open it, but at BGG Con, I thought, oh, I'll just learn it here. I learned it, had an experience, and then did not ever really open my copy at home. Oh, Corey is saying both games you mentioned, Katia, are by the same trio.
I should keep an eye out and not buy their stuff. Just
Or give them a try every time. So Hoyuk, just real quick, it had such potential in my head and a lot of cool things about it. But here's what soured it for us. So there's a rule in it that says something like, well, it's not even a rule. That's the problem. It just says when you do this, take a card from this deck, and the cards from the deck are very important to continue the game and work it out. But if you do it too much in the game, you'll run out of that deck, and then you can't actually finish the game. And so I actually contacted the designer at BGG and talked to them and said, "Hey, we just found this like thing. Like, are we doing this wrong? We ran out of the cards because we were doing that action too much, and now we can't continue the game." And he basically told me, that's a hidden mechanic. Just stop playing, play again, and now you know not to do that. So we put the game up, never played again. It's not a hidden mechanic, it's broken. Sorry, if I can't continue playing, that's a broken thing.
That doesn't even make sense.
I had a bad experience with it. Over the last, and those were years ago, but over the last like few months, I've been thinking about this game a lot and wondering, should I give it a go again, because I still have it. In fact, I have all of the games except for one that's on my list, which is silly. I guess I can't get rid of anything. I'm a hoarder. So
on camera, I'm better than Chris. I would get rid of the Captain Marvel game, and Chris won't get rid of anything. So
yeah. So I may pull this off my list to give it another try, because there was some really cool stuff in here.
That company did what was it, 12 Realms or something?
I never played it.
That really good. Like they've made a few things, I think, that I know.
Yeah,
I'll be right back. I need another sweater.
Okay.
I'm cold.
There was some really cool stuff in there about like building different buildings next to each other and using these different buildings and resources for it. There was a lot of it I liked, and I was disappointed that we had that experience. So in fact, we even talked about house rolling, and you know how I feel about house rolling, and I thought, if I have to house roll something, it goes on the I won't play list.
I also know how you feel about contacting designers and telling them how you fix their game.
Well, I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them that was an issue. I just went, okay, thanks, and moved on. So
yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it wasn't a great. I believe the designer was even at that convention, so maybe they were in the middle of a game, and that wasn't the best interaction there. I don't know, but you're still being shamed for your list.
I can't help it. It's just not for me.
Yeah, that can happen sometimes. I haven't played any of those.
I haven't played any of those.
Well, now you know what to stay away from.
All right.
All right, what you got, Mike? Third one.
Third down, Anomia.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I have to admit, though, what you described sounded interesting. Okay, I might try it.
And again, maybe they were at PAX U. They have multiple versions of the game. They had people buying it. Like, I'm sure I know people that love it. It was an awful experience for me.
Oh no, I was thinking of something else. I know this game. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I never want to play it again. We had played it Saturday, I think, at the office, and it was like, this is what you're gonna do. And I don't think I got a card. Like, Bobby, I think, had 12 cards. Like, it was just, it's not my type of game. Like, coming up with words and that, like, give me Jungle Speed, I'm in. I love Jungle Speed, and that thought of matching the colors and matching the shapes and then grabbing the thing in the center, I got it. But that whole thing where you got to match up your shapes and then you're looking at the person that has the matching shape, they have a theme, you got to come up with a name before they do. Always got beat, couldn't process it. Never want to play it again. And then I was told I think we played it with 5, and they were like, no, you got to play it with a full complement. Like, it's so much better. It's a blast. You should play it. Nope. No, really, you should get to the table. Like, let's all play it. Nope. I'll watch. And I watched everybody play, and I was frustrated watching them play. I don't want to be at the table. There's nothing about that game that I ever want to experience again.
We're going to get Peter's list from him next time he shows up.
Perfect. I can't wait.
Yeah, the reason why I don't want to play this game again is because Erin is so awesome at it that it's basically just 3 other people sitting around while she gathers cards. Because it's one of those, like, you got to think real fast and grab the card kind of thing, you know, and I'm never good at those. The slapjack, whatever it is, real-time stuff, I'm horrible at it. So
Jungle Speed is great. It's the same thing where you got to read react, right? Fastest to get the totem in the center, and I'm fine with it. That is fine. Something about the processes of theme to word, like coming up with a color. Like, I got to match the shape, find out that, like, you have the shape, you have a theme, and your theme is color, and I got to come up with a fucking color, and I can't do it faster than you have to come up with a poet. Like, all I have to say is red, and I can't do it faster than, like, Shakespeare works. Like, I can't it was so frustrating.
Yeah, I think that just reminds me that I have a category, which is real-time dexterity games.
Oh, real-time for me are tough.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Good pick there.
First one.
Katia.
My next one is Masquerade.
Is that with a Q? Masquerade?
Yeah.
Vampire the Masquerade?
No, just Masquerade.
Is that a fantasy fight?
Like that one?
No. What the hell?
No. I think
the box was way prettier than that, which is
maybe this is an original box or something.
Which is what makes you think that the game is going to be really cool. But
Masquerade. That one's a 2003 we're looking at. Do you know how old it is?
Maybe 2008.
I want to say it's a fantasy flight one.
Oh, here's a 2013. Is that it?
No.
Do you have it?
That's not it. Okay, now I feel like I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, don't have the right one.
So it's a hidden role game.
Skybound?
No.
Oh, I don't think it's Skybound.
Hold on a sec. Masquerade.
Andrew wants to know if you've played Snorta, Mike.
I have never.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not with a Q. It's with a C.
Ah. What? How do you even...
No, wait. What the hell? That's not the right cover either.
Like that?
Oh, there's different covers. But yeah, with it. Yes, that's it. So there's another cover. Go on the first picture. At the bottom. That's it.
Oh, I've seen that.
Right? It looks interesting, but it's not.
Oh, Bruno Fatuti too.
Yeah, well, missed the mark on that one.
Oh no.
So
such a negative episode.
Yeah, so basically everybody has like a hidden role And from what I remember, don't quote me because it's been a while, but from what I remember, it's like you're passing your card along, and then at some point you forget. You're supposed to forget like what, or like you're allowed to look at it once, and then things get exchanged. So at some point you might forget or might think you know what your role is, but by that point it has changed.
Wow.
And there's like cards that will make you get coins versus like, I don't know, like they each have different abilities, but I felt like everybody was always kind of trying to get the same one, and it was just a back and forth, and it was just, I don't know, like, yeah, it was one of those things where I also felt like once you knew which card you had and somebody else swapped it, you immediately wanted to swap it back so that, did I miss something?
He's fucking with me, and he's lost it. He broke himself.
I'm sorry.
He keeps putting up the damn things on the bottom, so I drink, and now he's lost it. Put up the Court of Owls
And
multiple.
I'm like drinking 3 times.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sorry.
Yep.
It's because I was trying to listen to you that I was holding it back, and that's what made me crack. Sorry.
Yep.
I forget what I was saying.
I'm
Anyways,
sorry.
The game, the art in the other version of the game looks so cool. In that,
yeah, but the game's not great.
no, but the art in that one looks really neat.
Yes.
Where you're like, oh, this is going to be really cool. Like this game looks really fun, and Repos does great stuff. The game is not. I agree with you. The game is not good.
No, because yeah, like I think they were trying to make it so that if you forget your role, then it gets tricky. But it's like as soon as you lose your card, you want to get it back so that you know what your card is. Like I don't know, it was just, it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I have that version. There's an expansion, I think, too. I like the whatever the new one is, right? With the mask and the stuff coming out from the top. Like the art looks really cool. I love the art in the one that's on the screen now.
Mm. Yeah, the cards were pretty, but yeah, I sold it.
Yeah.
All right. What do we're on number 3, right?
You have no
Yeah.
idea what's going on.
That was my third one.
Matt says it's
Oh,
tricky.
Trey, that'll be in my head now. Thanks. What the damn? Everyone stop commenting. This is turning into a drinking game now.
That's no. That's why I was laughing. It's because everybody commenting made him keep drinking more and more.
Right. It wasn't the fact that you put up the same message 4 times in a row.
Well, that's what I was checking to see. Can I make him keep drinking? And
Thanks, Matt. I hope you're drinking along with me, buddy.
So following my what game is that list is Bloodsuckers. Sorry to the Fireside people because we've had them on real short during our gathering, I think.
Yeah.
But this game just didn't work for me. We played it 4 or 5 times. It's 10 years old, and we got it back then. So it was kind of at the beginning of us like really diving deep into the games. I've always played games, but starting the collection, it was like one of the first ones. And I think the issue we had with the game was that it was one of those things where basically there's only 2 sides, and it says 2 to 4 players, but you play in teams if you do that, right? You're either the humans or you're the vampires, and the vampires will always win as far as we're concerned whenever you play. We tried it. That's why we played it 4 or 5 times. We was like, no, we must be doing like, let's try this. Let's try it. Let me try being human. No, let me try being human to, and it just felt so heavy, which I guess thematically is true. Right? You get a band of vampires against a band of humans. It was the first game ever in our building of the whole thing where we said, okay, enough of that. Kind of
Wow.
But like I said, it's a 10-year-old game. It was before I even made my first design, so it's a while back.
Would you revisit it now, 10 years after?
No, because I mean it's on the list.
I know. I was trying to catch that one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no, just because I know what it is, and I'm sure there's a few people. I mean, I don't mean a few. I didn't mean that, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that would enjoy that kind of thing. And in fact, I even said earlier, whenever you asked me what kind of stuff, it's that back and forth. I'm battling you with my cards. You're battling me with my cards. So I think it fell into that genre before I knew that genre was not for me.
Gotcha.
So bloodsuckers it is. I mean, artwork and stuff is. I on mine, I barely ever go through these cards, do I?
Mm.
It was good, especially for 10 years ago. It's even had little dials and stuff.
That's I never heard of it. I didn't know it existed, and I love everything that. Well, one exception, I won't say it. Everything that Fireside has done. So that's. I want to check it out just to see it.
Yeah, and there is this. There was some cool stuff about it too. That's why another reason why we played it a few times. Because we like some stuff about it. Like if your human dies, they become this vampire.
Oh,
So you flip the card, kind of thing. And it's just some cool thematic stuff with it,
Who designed it?
Justin and Anne Marie Duet.
Oh, was it Justin?
Yeah.
And Anne Marie?
Yep, both of them.
Some of the coolest and fun and nicest human beings you'll ever meet if you get a chance to meet them.
Yeah, I only got to meet them for the lightning round in our one episode, but they seem
they're great.
Very nice, yeah.
They're so great.
So I felt bad about putting it on here because they seem so nice and everything. But it was the first one we ever kind of went into that for.
Yeah.
Maybe they should remake it. After 10 years, I'm sure. I mean, I've thought about remaking my first one,
Yeah.
Although this came after Castle Panic, I think.
Huh.
All right, Mike, you're number 2. We're going slow through these.
Castle Panic was 2009. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. All right, so I already talked about how much I hate Anomia. This one should be fun. This I talked about it on the show. I really liked a lot of stuff that was going on, and then it comes down to a damn dice roll with no dice mitigation, and it doesn't matter how well you strategize or what position you put yourself in. A bad die roll ruins this game. It's got a ton of expansions. It's definitely revered. Heroescape.
Really?
Can't stand
it. You're going to get some letters of it. Oh, wait. I'm misspelling it here.
Bring them. I know plenty of people that love it.
There's a billion expansions. I don't know what I'm supposed to pull up here.
Just the core set, the base set. Usually BGG puts the main one up on top.
There we
they
go.
have a Marvel set.
Oh, yeah. I used to play that.
Magic came out with a version of it that had just a flat kind of map, so you didn't have to build out everything.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about that game, and I thought the setup looked so cool.
So cool. And you have...
Oh, my gosh.
This game was amazing. He's wrong.
It's so good until you roll dice for attack and defense. And then
that's just nice.
You get your points to make your team, so your team can be this dragon or these whatever. And then you build this terrain and this world comes alive on your table. And then you start moving and you give yourself the high ground and you get extra stuff. And then you just roll like shit. And this person who's like, I'm just going to stay over here on the ground and I rolled one attack and I beat you. It's like, come on. There was nothing you can do about it. It looks pretty. There was a lot about it that I liked. And then that shit that comes down with the die roll. And there's nothing you can you build your team and you have extra defense die, but you still roll blanks on all your defense. And one freaking arrow from across the damn map kills your guy. It's like, I can't. I was done.
I had a friend who went crazy buying up all this stuff when it first came out. He moved away, so I hadn't talked to him in years, but kind of hope he still has it someday and I can grab it from him. But he had tubs and tubs full of this stuff. We would spend an entire day making huge maps like this and then play a game on it, and it was just amazing the amount of stuff that would happen. But you're right, you would have your awesome little dude that you're like, oh, this is what I spent all my points on, and he'd get crushed by a little elf that somebody spent 2 points on because of some bad rolls, and you're like, that doesn't feel right.
No.
But going into a game like this, it's one of those things you have to accept, I feel. But
Right.
you know,
Nope.
you can say that about any game, really, right?
Sure. But I mean, as you know this as not only a game player, but as a game designer, you want something that can mitigate that bad luck. When a game is, it's like Magic, right? 90% of Magic is constructing your deck. You put all that time into like balancing it out, having the right lands, having a certain amount of creatures, having those spells, ways to mitigate like people throwing shit at you. And then when you shuffle the deck, it's done. All that effort you put into that is like you can just get a bad draw, and you can get it's just like a bad roll and a good roll. There's all of that luck, and then you try and mitigate it with Magic as best as you can. But with this, it's like maybe some of the characters are better with defense, or you get the extra defense die or whatever. But like you could be up 7 notches on a cliff, and I have the high ground, and I mean it always worked for Obi, right? You're always getting the high, although you can argue he always technically had the low ground whenever he defeated. But, and then you got that one thing from across the board, and like, there was too much setup and not enough. There's just not enough.
This is one of the few ones where setup was fun because it was like playing Legos, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, setup could be hours.
I have everything. I don't have everything, but I have all my stuff that I've accumulated from HeroScape, including the Marvel. And I just won't. I would never. There's better stuff.
Yeah.
You have that?
I have all of that. I don't have all the expansions. A lot of it is really hard to find, but I have everything.
Now you know how to get me to Kuzcon.
Well, there you
go.
Yeah,
I mean,
concept. It really building up the world. Go back to a couple of those pictures that had like the bridges going across, and like it was really cool. But then it's just when you play the game and you're like, you had a couple turns, and the map would be too big where you spend a couple turns moving and nothing happens, and then when you're like you've structured it well, you're up on top of the castle and you're fighting down, and then it's just like you roll one attack and you roll no defense. All right, you guys dead. I had 5 dice, you had 1, or I had 9 dice and you had 2, and I lose. I don't.
Yeah, part of the I don't want to say flaw, but one of the things I would have changed was no blanks on dice.
Right.
And you just up the hit points to a point to where if your guy is fighting a dragon with 200 hit points or something, and you can roll 3 dice and at best take 9 points away or something. But that dragon can roll 5 dice. If they get 1 hit on each one, at least it's 5 points against your, like it would feel a little more on scale with what you're fighting, right?
Yeah.
I hate blanks on dice. It's a bad idea. Anyone who is designing a game with blanks on dice, you should rethink that and retool it, because blanks feel like a failure. You don't want your players to feel like failures. I'm sure there's exceptions, but still.
Yeah, maybe you do want your players to feel like failures.
Well, I mean, not just nostalgia. I mean, I think I would have fun today building it. I mean, look at that. That's a Lego game. There's a game for setup.
I played that game 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
Yeah, mine's more like 14, 15 years ago. Yeah.
Like I played that recently, so it wasn't necessarily like I remember this game. It's like coming back and watching a movie, and you're like, "This is the best movie," and you watch it, and you're like, "No, this isn't good."
Okay. Peter, Rise of Tribes is an exception because that's a different thing. That's not the same. Those dice don't work like your personal effort or whatever. But
yeah.
Daryl's. I'm not arguing you don't have fun setup, but you would just stoop. Stop. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I think even back then I had more fun with the setup than I did the actual play.
Right.
The play itself, the design is all thematic based, right? It's,
Yeah.
oh, this dragon breathes fire, and here's the thing. And they got away with unbalanced stuff by giving huge point values to stuff.
Right.
But like Mike says, if somebody kills your big dragon, and the rest, all you have left is just a bunch of little, skeleton dudes or something, and they've got everything you're done with. Same kind of thing I was talking about with war, right? You could have an hour or so left and know that you're done for.
Yeah.
Your big point guy is gone, kind of thing. So
Yep.
yeah, there were flaws with it, but I'd almost just want to build with it and put it away.
Well, like Darrow was saying, right? You just
Yeah,
play your
the
Lego.
Lego part. Yep. Yep. Interesting. Katia?
I just realized that my next one, I'm pretty sure it's another AEG game.
Oh man, this is great.
Oh no. You want me to just
I
pull up the
swear-
catalog? You want to go one by one, Katia?
I swear I don't hate all their games. I love Tiny Towns and Cascadia.
Well, save it because next week we're going to do Katia's top 5 AEG games.
We should. Just to make it up to it.
I feel like now we should invite them on the show. Just to, balance it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe put a few episodes in between so when they go to watch the show, they don't see this.
I love the people behind the company as well. So it's just, I realize that this is complete. Yeah, probably not.
That's funny.
Oh, I know, right?
All right, what's the game?
It's Smash Up.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Matchup's fun.
I don't think you're going to hurt any
I
cells
didn't
here.
dig it at all. Like,
Really? Okay.
yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Oh, it is too one of their game. I was afraid about that. Okay. Yeah, I just felt like some of the combinations of factions are a little bit better than others, and then that becomes a problem. But I don't know, the whole game to me didn't like. I don't know what it was missing. I didn't really have fun playing it. That's it. That's all I gotta say. I played it years ago, and I feel like it really wasn't good. And I think I donated it.
I just recently played the Marvel version, the Marvel Smash Up, and that was extremely underwhelming.
You're crushing people, Katia.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not a good episode for you, Andrew. Sorry.
I think
all your other stuff.
I think the one
Andrew,
saving
maybe
grace.
don't tell him.
I think the one saving grace is it's not like any of AEG needs our approval to be doing well, right?
Correct.
They're clearly knocking it out of the park, no matter
Correct.
what our opinions
And this
are.
is just my personal taste. Like it's
Smash Up it's going to be fine.
The Marvel one does exactly what you were talking about. Like some of the decks, some of the factions were like too vanilla. And even like the advanced, like it was like just play this one because you know what you're doing. Like play these if this is your first kind of game. And it was even the advanced one. And I really wanted to like the Marvel one. And I like base Smash Up and those kind of expansions. But the Marvel one came across as very flat.
I didn't play the Marvel one. I only have the original one with a few expansions. I don't remember which expansions anymore. It's been a while.
I realized that maybe what this is going to do is people are going to do the opposite. They're going to go and buy all the AEG games I listed to see, like, wait a minute.
Well, I told you I almost got 10 just because of what you said about it. So it might actually be true.
But yeah, we had received this years ago. And I think when we got it, we were already past that point in our gaming progression. So we played it. But yeah, it didn't have a staying power for me. I do like Guillotine. He's asking if I like Guillotine. I love that game.
I think the for me on Smash Up, the replayability comes with the I want to try this with this, right? Did you not have like a desire to see what more combos were
Nope.
like, or? Eh, no.
No, and my next game sort of has the same. You might feel the same way about my next one. I don't know, just because of that whole like this combined with this makes me want to try. Yeah, well, I'll save it for last.
That's cool. All right, so my number 2. This is the only one of the. Oh no, that's not true. My number 2 and number 1 are I've only played once. I've only played this once, just recently at BGG Con, and it's Oath. I already complained about this whole thing. Again, Peter, not your fault. You taught it very well. My issue with this game is that how do I put this? As an experience goes, there are going to be times where people know they've lost and they're waiting to lose. And there's also the thing where you've played the game right the whole time, and then someone does a thing because they have a card that came out of a deck at random, and then now you lose. It's just too much of that kind of feel, and there's nothing that can happen to change. That's the kind of game it is. So if that's a category, then that's a new category I've discovered because of this game that I don't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this one little thing happened in the game and that's what makes me upset or anything like that. In fact, it was an interesting play. It was interesting to look at as a design, but it was too flat. It's like, for instance, have you either one of you played Inish?
No.
So Inish is it's one of these kind of games where it's if anybody has this and holds it for a turn, they'll win. But there's 3 different things you can have. So I might be trying for plan A, and someone else kind of does a thing that messes up. I can pivot to plan B. And Oath, you can't pivot. You're designed that you only win if A happens. And if somebody does something to mess up A, you have nowhere to go. You can't pivot.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's just it. So I think that's the issue I have with this game. But as far as I know,
I went with Daniel on that one when you said pivot. I heard wrong.
Yeah, I know every time. Oh, there's a whole conversation here. I could have you drink all day with this.
I have to go up and refill in a minute. So thank you, chatters.
Can be bad. Oh, they're talking about Katia's pick. So yeah, and I've already kind of talked about my experience with Oath on our whenever I came back from BGG. So
even before BGG,
I'd play Inish first, but I would play Oath again for sure.
Stop
cool.
Comments.
And I could see that. I'm actually surprised that Peter walked away with a positive feeling about this, because Peter had it as a win by himself, and the other 2 players messed him up so that they would win with him. You know what I mean? Like, he already had it, and then the only thing they could do on their turns was not lose by winning with him, kind of thing. And that would just feel kind of crappy to me. But yeah. I'm glad he enjoyed it. So I should have given you my copy if you don't have one. So that's my Oath. I'm glad other people enjoy it.
Back to Michael.
Number 1, Mike.
Because I like funnies. All right. So before I piss off a ton of people with my number one,
Touche.
um,
Oh wait, I forgot to prop that up.
you stop it.
Did I already put this one up?
I'm gonna
think
hate
I
Jar
did.
Jar even more after tonight.
How drunk can we get, Mike?
All right, are we good?
Yes.
He's just putting
Yep.
up other ones.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There are 4. No, Daryl, absolutely not. Still one of my favorites. We just played it at the Game Cafe. There were 2 people that their first con ever was CubeSCon, and I saw them at PAX. I don't know if David and Diana are watching, but I saw them at PAX, and I was super excited that they were there because CubeSCon was their first, and they were like, "Oh, what other cons can we go to?" And I saw them there. They came to the Game Cafe for the event we were doing Friday night, and I picked Sagrada from the bunch, and we played Sagrada. It was awesome.
Speaking of Sagrada, we ought to do a more positive version of this next week and do games we'll still be playing in like 5 years.
Ooh, I like it.
Done. Mark it.
All right. So,
All
coming
right.
off of that positive note, what is the number one thing?
There are 4 games that
What?
I want to mention before I piss off a lot of people. My number 6 on my list was Oath.
Oh, wow. And you haven't played it, right?
I have. We ran
you
the
have.
tutorial. We talked about it. We went off now it's your turn, and I was like, I don't want to play. I don't know what I'm doing, and it was just like 2.5 hours of like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
We really got to make a game that's called that.
Agreed.
Honorable mentions.
Yep. Lost
Oh,
City.
you didn't drink.
Lost City. Oh, God, because I'm focused on getting my 4 down. So also,
Well, tell Daryl to stop talking.
I want to ration what I have so I don't have to like whatever.
Just ignore it.
Just ignore it and go.
I said I would. Lost City's the card game.
What?
It's
an amazing game.
I like the board game way better.
I've never played the board game.
But to the point that you wouldn't play it anymore?
I would not play Lost Cities the card game. If someone said you want to play the card game, I was like, let me teach you the board game.
Okay.
I like it better. I like the gameplay better. Plus, Lost Cities, the card game is 2 players. The board game is not. You play more players with it. I think
it's not always better, but okay.
I think you can still play it 2, and it still feels fine at 2. So I think there's more benefits in the board game than the card game. So I wouldn't play the card game again. There's a game called Visitor.
I know what you're talking about. It's like a black box.
Yeah, it's like a social deduction Mysterium type game.
I almost got that game. Is that not good?
You're an alien, and you're trying to figure out the secret language to get on the alien ship, and you got to get through these two sets of cards to figure out what the item is. The rule book, I couldn't get through it. I even had somebody try and teach me the game, and I'm like, that's not what I got from the rule book, but if that's how you play it, and then it just seemed like, ugh.
I don't see it on here. The Visitors, maybe? No, that's not it.
No.
I know which one you're talking about, too, but I don't see it on here.
You're spelling it right?
Visitor. How weird. Nope. Oh, well.
See, it's so bad. That's not even So, yeah, there was just, I mean, it sounded like just a better, or it sounded like a Visitor, or Mysterium. But I'd rather play Mysterium. Like, there was no reason to play that. And plus, the barrier in the rule book was just like, I can't even learn this to teach it. It was confusing to me. And then someone teaching me, wait, no, this is how you play. Well, that's not what the rule book said. Like, it was just
Visitor. So it is this one.
Well, that's a promo pack, it says. But yeah, the base, he said, is named Visitor of Blackwood.
Well, these are the only images on here. They don't even have the box.
Is that the game?
No, you're probably still in the promo one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying the picture was just a promo.
No, the page you're
Oh,
on.
okay. Here we go. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, I almost got that game.
Yeah, there's nothing about it that I would want to revisit it. Like you're trying to give clues, and you got to get first that outer ring of cards. You're trying to figure out what the item is, and
Right.
then you're invited into the inner ring, and then you're trying to figure out what that is, and then you are on the ship. I don't know. There was.
Oh, I see what you mean by Mysterium like.
Yeah, I'm out. Give me Mysterium. Right, and there's also a hard limit on Mysterium, so you got like 42 minutes. Like that's the game. Like you're moving on, and this was just. Yeah. But the friend was trying to teach me loved it. He's like, "Oh no, you're wrong." I'm like, "Okay."
Had they played Mysterium?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not that they like this over Mysterium. They just like, no, this is a good
Right.
game. Like we enjoyed it.
All right, you done with all your cheater honorable mentions and want to give us your number one?
No, I got one more. Agricola.
Okay.
Yeah. What's it called?
I never want to play Agricola again.
Agricola?
What?
Never.
What?
Yep.
I forget who I was talking to this weekend that I've never played Agricola or Stone Age.
Stone Age.
I think it was Daryl. It was with Daryl that we were talking about that.
Never want to play Agricola again.
I don't know why these are the next picture. That has nothing to do with.
They look pretty.
Pay no
So
attention
cute.
to those. There we go.
So the reason why is I adore the 2-player version of it. The all creatures, big and small, and all that. The 2-player version with the expansions, it scratches that itch way better than playing Agricola. Agricola was more frustrating than I ever want to experience in a game.
It's interesting that you say the 2-player one was better because, for example, Caverna, I played the 2-player one and it really doesn't even come close to the full game.
Interesting. I had
Oh, that's not what I've heard. I've heard it was the other way. That's interesting.
No, I found it. It felt watered down, but
yeah.
Agricola is how I always think of it.
yeah, Agricola. Agricola.
Were you just talking about Stone Age?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stone Age
I've
is
never
great.
played that.
Great gateway game.
Ah,
In a good way.
in a good way.
In a good way.
Hi, Shannon.
Sure. There's probably way more strategy and depth in the base game. It just, to me, it overstays its welcome, and there's just a lot going on. And I feel, even though I don't necessarily always do very well in the 2-player, I enjoy what it brings. It's just not Agricola to me.
As surprised as I am that you said that, as surprised as I am that you said that, I might agree with you just because I would rather play Caverna. What are you going to do whenever I put up another comment?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I was done with my drink slurping. What were you saying?
Don't worry about it. I was agreeing with you, but now you don't get to hear it.
I just heard you were agreeing, and I figured you were lying just to bust my balls.
Gotcha. No. I was just saying I think I'd rather play Caverna. So
Yeah,
So I haven't played that yet.
Caverna's good.
I really enjoy the 2-player, and without the expansions, you don't even need to play it with the expansions. The tightness of that game, having the 8 turns, building, doing the animal stuff, doing the fences, everything about what I experienced in Agricola in that game just felt better to me. You're not waiting for people to figure out what card they want to get. You're not waiting for people. It's 2 players, and you play through it, and it was way better.
Daryl wants to play Agricola with you.
I don't want to play. I'll play the 2-player version with you all day.
That was a good trap. You almost had him. If he had said yes, we would have.
Nope.
All right, well, then I'll go play Agricola because I also need to get that.
I'll play
done.
with you, Daryl.
So,
All right. What's your number one? Now
All
that
right.
you get all your cheaters in there.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to mention other games just in case it went a little long, and I knew maybe we'd only have Katia's 2, so I wanted to fill in some extra. but now I feel like I wanted to piss more people off. So I'm going to say my number one is Terraforming Mars.
Oh, I don't think you're
Ooh.
alone. I
Ooh,
think there's a lot of
Never
people
wanna
in
play
that
it.
boat.
looking for blood.
Never
All right,
want to play it.
tell us why.
I've played it a few times. I'm done playing it. The only way to play that is to play it with someone who's never played it before. Because if you play it with someone who's played it before, they're just gonna win. Because they know what strategy to take, what cards to get, what tiles to like. There's nothing about a second play with that unless it's like the three of us are playing it, and the three of us are playing it again, and we're all like kind of learning. There's no way I'll ever win that game with someone who's played it before. I've never, and it's a great game. I know people love it. I know it's got really good things going on with it. It's a solid game, tons of expansions, enough to warrant like a card game. Like there's a ton of stuff that's good about it. It just, it's not, it's just not, never again.
Did you see these, Mike? You're getting a lot of love for this.
No, don't worry about the drinks. You're empty anyways.
I have nothing, so
No, I don't mean for the drink.
No,
I
but
mean
read.
what they're saying. You're getting a lot of love on this.
Awesome. Yeah, just
Um,
not that it's a bad game. Like we talked in the beginning of the show, like they're gonna like. There's a reason why it's high ranked, right? It's a good game. It's a great strategic game. I know people that will go to this game over any other game in a library. There's just, and it's not about like I don't want to play it so many times to get to that level. And if I ever play it with someone that's played it again, I'm done. I don't feel like I could catch up. There isn't anything that can help me like get more points than the other person. There's just nothing.
yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I can't argue it. I've played it maybe 5-6 times, and I'm not sure if I need to go back to it ever again. I might. It's not on my list, obviously. So, but I can see why. At some point, you get to know it well enough to where it just becomes a fishing game. You're looking for the card that you already have in your head, the strategy that you want to do, and you just wait till you get it, kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
No, takes too long. Takes too long between turns. Right, and this is coming from someone who loved an 11.5-hour game of Twilight Imperium with 7 people going to 10 points. Like that took a while in between turns trying to figure out what you were doing, but at no point was it like this.
Mm-hmm.
what about AP? I don't actually see a lot of AP in my plays.
Ugh. Just not.
Daryl's got a good question too. What would you replace with this? Like, what's better?
The first thing that comes to mind is Alien Frontiers. Like I'm thinking about a planet, like you're putting things on a planet. I love the domes you put on the planet to get the tile that gives you the benefit, the area control of, all right, well, now I'm going to go there so you don't get that benefit. The game's always different because of the dice and the rolls, and you're putting them on the different locations to get your ship early. There's way more stuff. I haven't played Underwater Cities yet.
I agree with those, both of those.
It's good.
Underwater Cities defeats it for me, yeah.
I wouldn't put Dune Imperium in the same as this, though.
No, I wouldn't either, but Underwater Cities I would.
And that I need to play. So great.
It has that thing where you need to get the cards to work together, right, and stuff. But it's a lot neater package.
Yeah.
Thing.
It's not as much fishing in like a big stack.
You've played Alien Frontiers, Daniel.
Yeah.
I played it with you. It's just been years and years ago. I have the look and everything.
It was completely ironic that you had that pint glass.
Yeah.
Good.
But it's been seriously, it's probably been like 8 years since you played it. So
even like Mission Red Planet, I enjoyed that more than this. I'd probably play that again. There's another Mars one, not on Mars, but there's another Mars one that there was nothing. I would never. I'd be okay never playing this again. Yeah, they're both great.
Totally agree with those.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
On to
Good
my number
conversation
one.
out of that one. So what you got, Katia? What's your number one? Another AEG?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. If it is, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's going to be bad.
Oh, I was talking about Mission Red Planet too.
I
Yeah,
don't think it.
Although
I
that's a
really don't
totally
think
different-
It is, though.
That's a totally different game, though.
it is.
My game is Small World.
Oh wow!
Ooh, Small World.
Never
Another
again.
hit.
Huh? Wow.
I played it twice and sold it.
Oh, and I see what you mean about the combination thing. Yeah, totally. Because they combined those races at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
Right there, yeah.
that game to me, and I blame Will Wheaton for making me buy it because I saw him play it on a show that he used to do, and it looked so much fun. And then we played it, and it was like, am I missing something?
Huh.
Because it just felt like tug of war. Like I'm doing something,
Yeah.
then you're gonna undo it right away, and then I'm going to get myself a new faction, and then I'm gonna try it again, and then I don't know. It was just
Yeah.
yeah. It's pretty to look at, but good lord.
The reason why I don't mind that it's tug of war is that you get points in between. If it was tug of war to where at the end of the game,
Mhm.
now you see what everybody has and you score, I'd be upset with that because I was like, for most of the game, I had this and then it went,
Right.
But because I can go, I've got all this land and I score, and then you come in and take this land and score, and then I just come in and take this land and score. That doesn't bother me as much, but I could see what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's just I haven't played it. I'm assuming it's more of the same. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I really wanted to like it because the artwork in it is awesome.
Great.
It
And the table presence is cool, and it just didn't do it for me.
I got it on my phone. I haven't played it in a little while, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I could see for the reasons that you mentioned, though, why. you
Daniel hit it for me just now.
Oh.
Yeah, that for me is why. I mean, I would play it again if it was on the table and we were all playing it. I wouldn't be like, "Nah, I'm good." But that's the reason I don't like the game. Right?
Mm.
You're never really attached to anybody. Like they're gonna, the tug of war is gonna take exactly what you just set up out. Like the elves are done, the halflings are done, and then you're putting out somebody else, and
Mhm.
never really attached to one race. Not that you needed to be. Like that's not the game. Going into the game, you know, it's not going to be what you want it to be. You're not going to be able to do the same thing over and over with the characters. But for that reason, I that's a good point.
That's an interesting point. I mean, one of the coolest things is how those two come together to create a unique kind of faction to play, and then you only get to play it like a few turns, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but then you get to play a new one. It's kind of like
No.
I know
Yes.
a guy that plays in D&D, and he plays like he makes a character, and then he makes a new character almost like 3 or 4 games later, and then a new character again, just because he likes that, like playing and making a new character and playing it for a few times. So if you like that kind of thing, I could see this is okay. But for people who really want to go, this is my thing, and I'm gonna dive into this game with this, yeah, I could see that disappointment.
It's
Right.
a bit
What is going on? I gotta block
like
somebody.
it's a little bit disappointing, I guess is the best way to put it. Like because yeah, there's a faction that you might like and want to do something with, and you're trying to like to really like maximize it, but then you run out of like at some point you gotta like swap it out, and it just
I got to do our very first block.
what?
As some spammer
Yes.
Oh,
trying to sell clothing or something. First time
Oh.
though. That's a first. Celebrate.
They're definitely not
maybe
selling
it's
clothing.
because we're not
Are they not?
just nice
Oh,
enough.
yeah, they are definitely not selling clothing.
They were not selling clothing.
They're selling lack of clothing, for one way.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, I blocked it. Hopefully, it goes out of the list.
That's funny.
Wait. We made it. What episode is this? The 44th, 45th episode? We finally got our first
46.
46th episode, and we finally got our first
My first spammer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just think, people, if you work hard and, well, if you barely work and put in the time, 46 episodes later, you too might get spammed.
You will make it on YouTube.
All right. Well, let me back up here a little bit. I was just so happy we got spammed for the first time. See what other people are saying.
It's about
They're talking about the WoW.
the facts. Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know if that's enough to make a person who doesn't like Small World already like jump into that one, but I could like it because I like Small World. I would probably try that because of that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna play that again. That's all.
Interesting pick. I think we all saved the most shocking ones for our last one. So here's mine. So Brass, I think it's Lancashire.
Lancashire, yeah.
Right. So I played this back when Freddie Mercury was on the cover, which is where's that? Yeah, let me pull it up here.
That's the remake with the way better art.
You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
Oh man, where is it? Come on, I saw it whenever I pulled it up here.
I believe this is one of Daryl's favorite games.
Oh, good. We should get some. Yeah,
I have Brass
getting some
Birmingham, but I've never played the Lancashire one.
So, okay, so this, if I'm correct, the Lancashire one was the original one, right?
Yeah, I think they added the beer in the other one or something like that.
Right.
Barrels.
And this is the one oh I got some agreement here. Cool. Oh, no, that might be for Smallville. I mean, Smallville.
Smallville. Hey, now.
Oh, not Smallville. So Brass is the one that I was telling you I had a bad teaching moment. But it was such a bad teaching moment that even that realization won't bring me back to this game.
Wow.
So we went, this is a BGG con. Aaron and I walked around just aimlessly and saw a sign for looking for players and just grabbed whatever that was. So this guy, whoever he was, I don't even remember what he looked like anymore, but he said, "Oh, you've never played Brass? Let me teach you Brass." He taught us Brass for about an hour in a totally just all over the place method. And then he said, "I haven't taught you everything, but you'll learn as you go." I was like, after an hour? So finally, we're already tired of the game, but we start. As we go, it's that kind of thing where he goes, "Oh, I didn't tell you that you could do this, but bam, now I own this, and now you're blocked from this and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, fine. I guess I'll try this." Oh, bam! I forgot I could do that. Like, basically, he didn't care about our experience. He didn't care about playing a game with us. He just wanted to do the cool things he gets to do, and whoever came along to let him do that thing. It was such a miserable experience. Aaron and I both swore off ever playing this game again.
Wow.
I will say that people love there's a Birmingham edition. They say it's different enough. I'll give that a try. I feel like that's my way of making up for saying I'll never do this one is I'll try the other one. I love a lot of Martin Wallace stuff. London is like in my top 15, maybe 10 games. I like London a lot. So just one of those experiences that was so rough that and again, I almost backed it just because of the artwork for the new version, because this is the new version and the artwork on it. I mean, it's just beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
It looks so similar to Birmingham. Like
I've talked to clients and stuff about the Kickstarter video for this too, because the Kickstarter video is a masterclass in some stuff that you should have in your Kickstarter video. It's one of those videos that I revisit every now and then whenever I'm about to do a new one. So, yeah, I won't play this version again. Just looking at this, even though it's new art, the structure of it kind of makes me cringe from the experience.
Daryl brings up a good point. He said he feels like it's a bad review of a bad person. And I think we talked about it in the beginning of the game, right? The game experience could rely on the people that you're playing with rather than it actually being like a show of a game or whatever.
And I totally agree. And I think you might be right, Daryl. I would never tell people not to try this game. And I'm not telling anybody to do that now. I'm just saying that I wouldn't because I had such a bad experience. And please think about the people you're teaching whenever you teach a game.
Yep.
What is this? I learned the best Martin Wallace game on Saturday. Sherlock M. Buffett. I don't know how to say words. Buffet? I've never even heard of that.
I don't know.
A buffet? You don't know what a buffet is?
No, I mean the whole game.
Oh.
M. Buffet. Is that German?
Yeah, because Daryl asked down below, is it Cosmos?
Oh, okay.
I
that would make sense.
Heard of it either.
Mr. Cuddington art. Oh, is this Mr. Cuddington art? That would make sense. They make amazing stuff.
Yeah, some of the best.
For some reason, lots of maple leaves from Matt.
I believe Mr. Cuddington is Canadian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Peter and I both agree on the video for that. It's a game about going to a buffet. Could be. I don't know.
Or a game about going to a Jimmy Buffett concert. I mean,
neither one of those seem on brand for Martin Wallace, though, right?
Yeah, probably not. Or maybe a buffet at a Jimmy Buffett concert.
This is correct, Matt. Teaching is a learned skill. It's also a very heavy in empathy to do it right. Right, you have to be able to see from their point of view and know what they need to hear from you. So, yeah. So that was my number one.
Nice.
Right.
Unfortunate, but there you go. So,
yeah,
I think we were mostly as positive as we could be about something listed like this, right?
Right.
Other than Katia, she tore people down totally.
Well, just one company in particular, really. We did talk about in the beginning that it's not about it being. We're not. And we can talk about this at some point. We're not taking Monopoly Animal Crossing, putting it on a grill and lighting it on fire. We're just saying we had a bad experience and had the opportunity come up, I'm bowing out. Not that it's bad, just that I'm not.
And that's all from a personal point of view of what our likes and dislikes are, kind of, right? So,
correct. Yeah. Kind of like disliking people lighting games on fire.
And I like seeing stuff like that, so I think it's interesting.
See, I cringe because it's like, oh, what a waste.
So rude.
Oh, he's talking about the game. Your rats collecting various foods. Weird theme, but really fun and simple mechanics.
Or mechanisms.
That's very strange.
Like Ratatouille, the game?
Ratatouille. Well, Ratatouille was cooking food for humans, but
not his family.
Well, yeah, but in this game, it looks like you're collecting the ingredients first.
How strange.
All right.
So I'm still reading what people are saying on here.
Yeah, right. Burning books. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so since you brought it up, let's talk about it just a little bit. Since we are talking about negative stuff on here, but trying not to be negative, right? So there was a review recently. It was the Monopoly Animal Crossing version, right? Where I didn't actually watch it. I just laughed whenever you sent me the thing.
That's the only thing I know about it. And it took me to figure out what game it was. I'm like, that looks like Monopoly, and I think those are Animal Crossing me.
Was it Tom Vassell? that
Yeah.
I
burnt
don't
it?
know. It was
was
out of
a-
the dice tower, so I
It was
assume.
out of the dice tower. Someone burnt it. Okay.
But
I
I don't-
mean, there are dramatic events sometimes coming out of certain reviewers. Mostly, I wouldn't say mostly, but as far as I know, Dice Tower does it more than anybody else, right?
Sure.
Where they say this game is trash and they throw it in the trash or they light it on fire, and it doesn't happen a lot. I mean, they review like 20 games a week
Sure.
amongst all of them, so and it happens
Mm.
maybe 3 times a year, so it's really very rare. But um, some people like yourself or selves have an issue with that. I think it's fine.
No.
To me, it's a new level of disrespect for who created the game, and it's extremely wasteful. And I looked at it, and I was just
Yeah.
a little bit like a little part of me died because it's like there's got to be wooden components in there I would have used.
Okay, I
And
could
now
totally
they're
see
being
that point of view.
and now
Sure.
they're being burnt. And so, but yeah, I don't know. To me, it's like if you dislike it that much, just donate it to somebody.
Yeah, Toys for Tots. Wrap it up. Give it to somebody else, man. Like,
Well, okay. What if you really believe? And I'm not trying to put words in people's minds and stuff, but what if you really believe that this is a negative on the industry? Like I believe there are games that have been made, usually by corporations, not individuals doing their stuff and all that. But there have been games that they either bring zero to the quality of the industry or can actually be a negative. Imagine you're trying to bring someone into the board game industry and all of their experiences have been these horrible games. Like every time a new person hits those horrible games that are usually mass market, so they get to them first,
yeah,
it's just creating a harder barrier for them to get into the hobby.
sure.
So that's the only reason why I think something like that
Yeah,
I'm
but
almost okay with.
No. Nope.
I mean, Monopoly is such a popular game still to this day that like how
Sure.
uh,
Sure. Same thing with the Jello and the mac and cheese combination that we've talked about on the show too. Like, sure, it was a cash grab. Like, Animal Crossing's popular. People are playing it on the Switch. It's grown in popularity over the past couple of years, although I don't think it ever really died from the GameCube. But there's a tactful way about saying a game is shit, right? Like,
mhm.
what he did, throwing Vasco da Gama in the garbage as a reviewer. Great, you can take it out of the garbage and donate it to your library, and for the show, get reviews and get hits because, oh, did you see Tom threw this game in the garbage and whatever. And then with the Jello game, it was like, you're saying the designers should be ashamed of themselves. Not necessarily it's the designer's fault because the company could have been like, and I know other people that have told publishers, look, don't publish this yet because the game's not done or we need to do this thing, and they still go forward with it. Well, is that the designer's fault or the publisher's fault? But you're making the designer feel like shit about something that they might have, you don't know if they did or not put enough work into it. But like, if they didn't, and it doesn't deserve a place in the industry because it could do something bad for us as hobbyists, you don't light the fucking game on fire. Like, say it's bad. You have enough outreach. People respect what you're saying. The game's bad. Don't play it. Great. You have thousands of people that follow you and say, great, I'm not touching that game. Thank you for telling me it's shit. And the same on the opposite side. The game's great. Everyone should play it. Great. I'm going out and getting it. But lighting the fucking thing on fire.
I mean, to Katia's point, yeah, you can do stuff with those pieces, stuff like that. But like I was saying, if you really believe that it's a negative to the industry, then giving it to someone else, you're adding that negative to the industry, right?
It's still subjective, though, right? You
Yeah,
think
sure it is, of course.
but like the Jello game, my argument in the Jello game, right, could be a family is teaching their young kid colors. You can use that thing as like color recognition or pattern recognition. There's there's something about it that you can, and I try and find the good in everything except a certain amount of games. I try and find the good in everything, right? There's something good in the stuff that people design. And if it is bad, is it bad to you or bad for the industry? I still think there's a place for it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Someone is going to take that and turn it into something beautiful or have a great experience with their kid because they friggin' love Animal Crossing. And now they get to like, even if you're not playing it as Monopoly, let the kid be creative. And that could be their like, wow, I really like this. Let me see what else is out there, right? As bad as Monopoly is, it still does a lot of good for a lot of people. So I might hate Monopoly, but fuck, I have some, and I'm sure as hell not putting it on the grill. Like, that's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty. I mean, we just went through a whole list of games where we said wasn't great for us, but someone out there is going to enjoy it, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So those kind of games definitely don't light those on fire. Don't throw them in the trash. Don't trash the designers. All of that stuff, right? You should always try to look at things as to will other people enjoy it. I don't think, and I'm not trying to defend Dice Tower or Tom or anybody else that does this, but I'm just trying to think like, would I have a problem doing it myself if I was a reviewer, which I'm not. And the only time that I would do something like that is I really felt like I need to get the message out that this kind of thing shouldn't be in the industry. I mean,
if you're
okay,
that popular and people are respecting your opinion of a game being shitty for the industry, that's all you have to say. This game is shitty for the industry. Don't get it. They respect you enough. They followed you enough, right? You've been around. You're not green in this industry. You have a ton of people that are following you and listening to what you say. They respect you as a reviewer. They respect your opinion. Great. If you say this is trash, don't get it, you have enough outreach that people aren't going to get it. Lighting it on fire doesn't make it a point to be like, no, I really mean this. Because then where does it stop, right? Like, if you're saying the game is shit, the game is shit. But now we're going to do a scale of, if I'm saying the game is shit, but I'm not lighting it on fire, maybe you should still go out and get it. No, the game's trash. The game is not trash. Like that, or maybe it's not for you. Like Z does it all the time. This game wasn't for me, but, or Rado too, with his, don't listen to a word I say because I play a certain type of game a certain way. This might be great for you. Make your own decision. But shit,
right.
You see the game being lit on fire. Are you doing it for show? Do you really like what?
I mean, let's all agree that it's for show, right? Just like Peter said, it's clickbait.
Ugh.
You want to see why it's being lit on fire, right? And to some degree,
I didn't watch it.
I mean, not you. I'm just saying that's why it's clickbait. Is because you're like, what could possibly be so bad that you got to light on fire? But you're saying that there's nothing that can be made that would be so bad that you would try to warn people of all kinds not to use.
I would think maybe the poop in the toilet games that have come
won
out
an
in the
award.
past. Pardon?
That game won an award.
No.
It did. The one with the shit, you grab the shit that comes out of the thing. It won a fucking award.
Good Lord.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think to Daryl's point, there was a say about people who enjoy certain things. Like there's somebody who enjoys the game he lit on fire, right? There's somebody that enjoys whatever game you were just talking about there. There's people that enjoy Cards Against Humanity. I think Andrew Wolf pulled that up. I mean, there's a lot of people who enjoy Cards Against Humanity. It's millions sold, but
there are so many games being made that can do so much good out there, that can introduce people to the hobby, that can bring families together. Why are you taking the time to light the thing on fire when you can take that time and make a better video of a game that people should play?
Right. I'm not saying this is true about the Monopoly game that he did that to. I'm just saying that in my head, there is still a possibility that that's an okay thing to do if the game itself would be a negative in all ways to the, I mean, imagine something that's like truly offensive.
Sure. I mean, first of all, it
I
shouldn't
mean,
pass.
really culturally offensive to an entire race of people or something like that. Wouldn't you think I should warn people about this game that it shouldn't be made? Throw it in the trash. Like, there must be a line somewhere.
Unfortunately, where that should stop is with the marketing of that game. Like, that game should not be published.
Yeah.
Right? Humans today should have the wherewithal to be like, no, this is culturally insensitive. Don't do it. And unfortunately, things still get through. But like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, the banana, right, with the duct tape.
No, you're right, Daryl. Burning is not the only way to warn, of course.
Just say
But
it's
it is an effective way to get clicks. And if your idea is to warn, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not defending the Monopoly thing, especially since plenty of people have been saying in chat, plenty of people like Monopoly. I've even I have it on my Xbox. I mean, you know, I still have my Star Wars Monopoly. So, you know, anybody can do that. I'm not defending that video. I don't like saying never as far as this goes, because there are some things that offend me as being out there that I could only look at it and think this can only be a negative to the industry.
Yeah, unfortunately, those things should not be in the industry.
Exactly.
Right, but if that, yeah, that's his point. Is if they made it out, then you know, is doing what was done, burning it, okay?
And what does that do? Like, if we started filming on the deck, and we were just lighting those top 5 games on fire, like, would we be taken seriously? Like, is that a thing that we should be doing? No, like,
Right.
come on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's done for clicks. Totally agree with that. I agree that it's a very strong statement that probably shouldn't be made for Monopoly, right? Something that other people would enjoy. But I'm sure there are some games, especially game ideas, right, that get burned before they ever get made. So if something does get made and needs to be burned or warned about or whatever it is, you do it the most effective way you can, right? If you really cared about being positive in the industry.
Don't promote it. Don't talk about it. It's the best way to stop it from doing well is to not buy it for people, to not talk about it. Just let it die. No one will know about it. The fact that you're doing that, now we're talking about it, and people are like, well, he's burning it. Like, I need to get my own copy because maybe, right? Like, the same thing.
Bad publicity.
Right. The same thing we were joking about with you and your hatred towards AEG. And
It's
people,
not.
I know.
It's not, though.
I'm kidding. But we said, like, people are going to go out and get these games to see why you hate them, right? You get that negative. But again, it's not for you. Great.
Mhm.
But there are people that love Monopoly and families that gather at the table because they don't know some of these designer games that have those family experiences with Monopoly. And there's the connection to Animal Crossing that, like, could really mean something to a kid. Like, what? It's not Terraforming Mars, right? It's not that type of game. It's an Animal Crossing Monopoly game. Regardless of if it's a regurgitation of some other Monopoly with some theme on it, it still could do. There's nothing that's that bad about that game. You want to burn a racist game, you want to burn a politically incorrect game or a cultural inappropriate game, you're making a statement. I get it, right? Those things don't deserve to be there. But man, that's just rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very strong statement. Corey made a great argument, I guess, against my point, actually, but it actually makes it more popular in a way. I mean, you're right, it does.
It's the whole bad. There is no such thing as bad publicity.
Bad press. Yeah, I know. In fact, I believe, I could be wrong, but didn't you buy the ketchup Jello thing just because it was thrown in the trash by Tom Vassell?
Yeah, I think it's behind my QSCOM poster. I had it back here for the longest time, basically just to piss you off. But that's not the only reason. Like my argument for it is real. Like I understand it might be a bad game and it's taking up space on a shelf, right? That designers like us want to have that space and we're fighting for that space. And there's, thousands of games that are published a year, and that shitty game is taking up space where maybe one of ours will be or should be, or someone else's that's better at that should be. But man, like saying that they should be embarrassed by their game, saying it brings nothing, like you put that again in a certain situation where like parents are trying to not only introduce their kid to maybe like interacting and social interacting, but like colors like that, or even like the idea of recognizing shapes or rolling dice, as shitty as the games could be. And sure, it's a cash grab doing those Jello and mac and cheese, which is like whatever. Like I think it still has space somewhere out there, right? And it's aggravating that it made its way onto a Target shelf, but like they're also looking from a marketing perspective that they're going to make money, which is all what this is, right? Even our designs are going to publishers, and like they're thinking, well, how can I make money off this stuff? They did that with that game, but to say that they should be embarrassed about what they made and say that it brings nothing is in that fashion it's just poor, in my opinion. It's just poor. And now to take it to the next level, like lighting the thing on fire, what's next, right? Like, what are you going to do to the next game you don't like, or you think that they should have developed more, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't agree with the burning of the Monopoly game, even though I haven't played it. I imagine someone will enjoy it. I mean, Corey here, I put it up there, said that his 6-year-old likes was it the Jello game or the ketchup one?
The Jello game.
Was it the Jello game? Right?
Oh, I saw something about ketchup, I thought. But...
Yeah, and there's an reward. I mean, I mean, if people are playing the game and it's bringing them into the hobby, great. That's a positive, right? Every game probably has a positive and negative effect to the industry in some way. Some more than others in different ways. But okay, so there's a scenario I was at. I think I told this once where I chickened out in being an ambassador for board games. But I was at a Target and there was a couple looking at board games and they picked up Ticket to Ride. And they said, "You think he'll like this?" He said he liked board games. They were shopping for their nephew for their birthday or something. And I was thinking, oh, good. I should go over there and say, I think he would if he doesn't already have this. It's a great game to get, blah, blah, blah. But instead I said, nah, they got Ticket to Ride. They're good. And then like I looked at Star Wars toys or something, came back, and instead they had Monopoly under their arm. And I was like, oh, they talked themselves out of it. I should go try to, for all I know, the kid liked Monopoly. But he might also have like 3 different Monopolies.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened there and all. But that could easily happen with, oh, wait, he likes ketchup kind of thing. And that kid could go ketchup and throw it in and that's a lot of ifs. I could go, oh, ketchup and get into it and get into the hobby, right? Could go either way. Sure. I don't mind certain culling of games. It doesn't have to be on fire. It doesn't have to be thrown into trash and stuff. But I don't mind some negative reviews if the intention is to better the hobby and better people's way into the hobby.
Sure, but that family that's at Target buying games and having Ticket to Ride in their hand is not looking up Tom's view or any of our reviews.
Sure.
They're just there getting a game into their hand, thinking about something, right?
Yeah.
Your burning of a game or your saying the designer should be ashamed of themselves. They don't know that.
Okay, but if they go to Google and they go, oh, let's look this game up, the first thing they're going to see is the thing in the bin or in the trash, and they'll go, oh, maybe this isn't good, and grab Ticket to Ride again.
Maybe. But they also don't have this to compare themselves to, right? They're going to play the Jello or the catch-up game, and that could be their first experience in gaming, and then they end up going, oh, what else is out there? I had a great time with my 6-year-old. What else can I get them to play? They're not jumping into friggin' Twilight Imperium. Like, that's not happening, right? The people that are getting the Jello game, it could be their first experience in a board game or a puzzle game or a dice game, rolling dice for the first time. getting your kid to roll dice for it could be.
Sure.
And I think my problem with it is that they have such a reach and can make such an impact that
Yeah.
doing things like that it just comes across naive and rude. If you don't acknowledge that you have that sort of impact on the industry and you're doing something
Mhm.
like that, it comes across as naive. And no, I don't have that much.
I will say that they often, especially Tom, dismisses the impact he has on the industry. I
That's
think he feels like it's being what's the word? I don't even know the word. Humble. Uh, I think he thinks it's being humble, but in a way, I think it's also a way of not taking responsibility for the impact you have. So
the same reason that he's doing the lighting of the flyer for clicks. Like, one, you don't need the clicks. I'm sorry. Whatever.
yeah, I mean, we've all heard about first experiences putting people off from gaming and stuff. So
Yeah.
There's got to be a happy middle, right? Don't burn the game, but figure out a way to persuade people into better games.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, we're going a little late for Katia, I know.
Yeah.
Pretty
I'm
tired
struggling.
here. Just quick word. How was PAX Unplugged for you guys?
It was good. It was a lot of meeting with friends, having meals with friends, touring around the booths, bought a couple things, bought Witch Stone, which I'm excited to try. Got it right here from R&R, and
I've heard good things. It's got a lot of
Yes.
talk about it.
It is heavy, very heavy. I bought a few games that I needed to buy again, and then I also bought the Raja's goodie box that I was missing. So I had the one. I was missing this one. So
I
yeah,
haven't played that game.
it was good. Yeah, it was fun. Played a couple games. Played a couple round of Cape May from Thunderworks to try it out. Played a game of Trails with Daryl and somebody else whose name I forget. Played. Gosh, what did I play? I feel like I played a few things. Oh, and we played Peter's upcoming game. Is it Andromeda's Edge? Did I
Andromeda.
say it right?
Yep.
Andromeda's Edge.
Yeah, we played that. Yeah, went to the 3WS mix, or not mixer, but I'll let Michael explain that one. But yeah, just it was nice to see a bunch of people and hang out. So
That was still a prototype, right? Andromeda's Edge.
yeah,
Love the components, the way that the things are being inserted into like the observatory, and really, really good.
yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see the final
Yeah.
look of the game for sure. It's
Yeah,
heavy though.
I think
big-
publicly they've shown just the cover of the box right now, right?
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
if, if anyone's familiar with Dwellings of Eldervale, and the production quality and the art quality in that game, I mean, Peter is going to do it up. It's very similar to the things that Dwellings did. There's a lot going on, and I was nervous because of my experience. I had a bad experience with Dwellings the first time I played it, and going into this one knowing that feeling that it had similar mechanisms. There's one thing in Dwellings that if you have the opportunity, you can speed up that game pretty easily. This doesn't have that. Like, there's a way to do it, but it's not as easy as I'm going to go here, 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 and then speed that up. And the person that I was playing the game with did that, and it didn't feel good. The game's great, love it. The production quality, the art, the way the mechanisms are working, but having that thing happen that somebody could exploit didn't feel good. And knowing, I mean, Luke Laurie is a great designer. Peter's going to do an amazing job with this, and having that feeling of, oh, okay, this is how this works, felt familiar. And then that familiarity was like, oh wait, but that can happen. And then it was like, yeah, but it didn't. There was a way that it just wasn't working that way, and it felt good. I had a great experience.
Yeah, it's a beast. for me, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
You destroyed me in it.
So
Well-
great experience. Yeah.
It wasn't even a contest.
If you play Dwellings again, you should play with the Oracle
Yeah.
piece because it helps like cut that down a bit.
I found out
Always-
that night
always
when
play.
we were done that that's what we should have done.
Yeah, always play with that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. It
Very
was
cool.
a good con. Yeah.
All right. Well, our comment section has gone off on their own conversation about other stuff. So we'll let them continue talking, I guess. But I don't know. You want to call it? It's 2 hours, 15 minutes. That's not a bad episode. And I know we were going to possibly play a game here, but I know it's getting kind of late. We went a little long.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna last through
You
it.
guys are tired. Yep.
Yeah, we'll see.
So next week we'll take a more positive spin on it and see what games we're going to be playing still in 5 years. What'll be interesting is in 5 years, whenever we're on episode 500 something, right?
Sure.
Then we'll be able to see how we. Maybe we should do this every Christmas time, and then see. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
What shows will we still be running in 5 years? That's the question.
I love it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for. We had a lot of people in the comments this time, so love that. It's always fun.
Yeah.
More people having conversations and bringing points made me think more. Corey's always the first to argue the more positive side against me, and I appreciate it. Even though we seem to butt heads a lot, it's mostly because I'm negative, and he brings me back more towards a positive side. So I appreciate that. Woot! Lots of I love the woots. Anything else you guys want to cover before we say goodnight?
I'm good.
Other than the please like and subscribe.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, I can keep talking, but it's probably better that we don't.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna run into Discord after the show if you guys want to continue conversation. I know at least one of you is gonna conk out and go to sleep. And I don't know how much Mike's drunk, but we'll see who can join us and keep talking. We'll be in the Bat Cave on our Discord. It's in the description of the video if you'd like to join us.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.